Welcome back, everyone. We got a good one for you guys today. Happy Monday. Hope everyone's doing well. Oh boy, if we got a good one for you guys today. We got an interview with Amirah Hall, author of Manifesting Miracles 101 and soon to be published Guide to Spiritual Awakening. It's still in edit. I got to get a sneak preview of it. Amirah was very kind enough to give me a copy that's in editing right now. And I feel like it's a story, like it relates to me identically. It's amazing. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for her to get that published and for you guys to go check her out. AmirahHall.com. Amirah. I will pronounce her name right one of these days, I swear. I'm sorry, Amirah. AmirahHall.com, everyone. Go check her out. She's been working in the business for 22 years. She's a professionally trained intuitive, helping families. She's been in the business 22 years, helping people reach their greatest potential. She's an intuitive. She does readings. She can tell you how to clear your chakras with a meditation on the daily, with a quick 15-minute meditation, and get your energies right so your energies aren't all over the place and your energies aren't mixed up with everyone else, and you can pull your energy back in yourself like Russell and I we talked about that many times. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the podcast. I'm sorry it's late on a Monday, but I did exactly what I said I was going to do at the end of the interview, and I went to the gym and worked out some of that overabundance of energy that I had because I was buzzing high after talking to Amirah. Thank you again, Amirah. It was an honor and a pleasure to get to talk to you. And that being said, let's jump into it. Welcome back, everyone, to Evolution Through Ascension. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you may be across this wide, wonderful universe we call our own. Today, we have with us a very special guest, Miss Amirah Hall. She's the author of Manifesting Miracles 101, and also currently in edit, which I got a sneak peek of, so thank you very much, is The Essential Guide to Spiritual Awakening. And Amirah, you're a trained clairvoyant with over 22 years of assisting clients in finding their unique greatness. So thank you for the work you do, and welcome.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be with you.
Absolutely. This is great. I was pleasantly surprised when you reached out and wanted to do a little collab for an interview. So that's I'm excited.
Yeah, the energies are stirring up here. I can feel it myself. I feel this building momentum, excitement, not only from our side, but I think we're kind of feeling like a growing pressure within other people that are realizing there's so much that's changing. And a lot of people are trying to put their finger on it.
Right.
Exactly what is it? And a lot of people have a lot of different descriptions for what it is, but don't, I think, have the bigger picture of what it is.
No. And like I've told people on this podcast, my spiritual awakening has been going on for about 22 years now. And when it first started happening to me, I knew there was something different. I knew I was different. I knew I thought and felt and acted differently, which automatically secluded me from a lot of people, and people treated me weird and didn't know how to treat me and take me, and weren't sure about me. So it was pretty much like, I would say the first 15 years were pretty much like a dark night of the soul. And then the last 6 or so years is where the real esoteric part has been kicking in, the whole, meditation, law of attraction, chakras and all that's been really, and also finding out what I am through some very interesting people that I've met. It's been quite a roller coaster ride. So yeah, it's very confusing when when the universe finally says, here you go, have an awakening.
Right. And I can ditto that, because I too, I started mine over 40 years ago now. I'm dating myself. But, there was no information, first of all. There was no internet. So it was even a little more rocky. And I think, I really did question my sanity. I didn't know who to turn to. And I did lose a lot of friends, because I remember one friend who was a diehard Christian. I shouldn't say diehard, should I? But she thought I was doing the work of the devil, when I was really just trying to discover who I was and look for answers that the church wasn't giving me, or any other spiritual path up until that point. And so, yeah, it just started taking on a whole new framework little by little. And I think it's true for everybody. We might go down the chakra path, or we might go into meditation. That seems like a really natural flow, is starting to understand that. Some people are seduced with this whole channeling and the whole idea of connecting with beings from the other side. But quite honestly, I think that's like putting your finger in the fire, because you really don't know what you're playing with or what you're opening to.
Nope.
So I think, on our discovery process, being safe and taking one step at a time, I think, is a really prudent way to approach it. And even though we didn't know we were doing that, I think that's the way Spirit guided us, and the whole unfoldment occurred.
Yeah, I know for myself, being a fire sign, being an Aries at that, I always have this very much, okay, let's go, let's hurry up, let's go, let's get to it. And on the other side, I can see now that on the other side, the universe was like, all right, hold on, slow your roll. You have no idea what you're even asking for yet. So let's just take this one step at a time.
Yeah.
So I had no idea what I was asking for back
Aries,
then, but
that's right. That's right. And then Aries, you're such a pusher, aren't you? You really want things yesterday, and things aren't happening fast enough for you. I'm a Cancerian, but I have an Aquarius moon. So there was a part of me that was eager, but lots of emotion for me. I think for me, the biggest thing was learning how to manage my energetic upheaval, and the questioning what I was feeling, not being able to put my finger on it because it wasn't identifiable.
Oh yeah.
I remember talking to other seekers on the path, and they laughed at me when I said, I've lost all my friends. And they went, welcome to the club. And I'm like, what?
Yep.
I thought there was something really seriously wrong with my personality. And I had always prided myself in making friends really easy through my life, but man, it didn't work like that for a long time. And there were cycles of that. As soon as I'd get to another threshold, it seems like I was doing another purge of either things in my life that no longer were supportive to me, or people. Relationships was really big, and even recognizing my own family, how that was actually a detriment to me in being able to step into a greater, higher vibration. I had to let go of my attachment. And being a Cancerian, again, that was just so heart-wrenching for me. It was grieving process after grieving process after grieving process. At the time, I didn't call it grieving. You call it the dark night of the soul, but, it was just an incredible loss.
Oh yeah.
And I think what's happening too at a deeper level is we're shedding who we think we are, and all of those parameters, definitions. And I use this terminology of, like, my family, to pick on them for a minute, is that they have a reference point. They have a memory of who I was, let's say in my teen years or before that. And they hold on to that memory that triggers an emotion. And so even if I go home to visit in my 20s or 30s, they would reflect back to that memory of who they remember me to be. They couldn't even perceive or see me in my new role or my new expression. It did not compute. So little by little, it was like a blur for them. And they couldn't get out of it. It was all, and same with friends. It's like, that's why we have to let them go, is so that we can step into that new version of ourselves. Otherwise, we're going to be held in that old framework.
Exactly. Yeah. I know I can exactly relate to what you're saying, because every time I go home to see my mother, she remembers me as her teenage son. And I've been alone doing the spiritual work and have changed to the point that I can't have a conversation with her, because she doesn't have a concept of what that is.
Right.
She doesn't even know the new me. I could have mentioned the name law of attraction, and she skips right over it. Her brain just skips right over it, because it doesn't even want to try and process it. So every time I go home to visit her, I have to try to act like what she thinks that I still am. So that way there's no tension or fighting. And I just, bide my time while I'm there. And then when I go home, I'm on my way. But yeah, it's like I tell people, once you decide to go through a spiritual awakening, it's lonely at the top, because just about everyone is gone / you have to let go.
Yeah. And then at the same time, we're stepping into a new soul family, reconnecting with, fellow travelers on the path. But I don't know that I ever decided for a spiritual awakening.
Well, it's not.
On a conscious level, I think my soul already was programmed to come here for this specific purpose, but I don't remember having a conscious decision that this is what I was going to do. It wasn't an activity. Maybe Aries do things like that.
Yeah. For me, it was kind of on subconscious level. I kind of figured out what was going on. Then I realized, okay, source is going to push me into this. So let's go. All right. You know what? Bring it to me. Let's go. I'm here for it. Bring it to me. So it was kind of like, Aries, head first with the horns. Let's go. So, but yeah, I was spirit definitely pushed me into it. And yeah, here we are 22 years later.
You bring up a good point, because we all do it in a different way.
Yeah.
It unfolds as a process. There's various stages. You can't say this is going to happen, then that's going to happen. And then it unfolds in a sweet, gentle, logical manner. It is unlogical completely. And a lot of times what you think is going on isn't.
No.
And so it's like a really big, one of the things I think that's most important is being able to stay grounded and allow yourself to surrender and go in the flow. And I think that really helps, because when we try to figure it out, that actually creates resistance, and it actually slows it down and maybe derails us.
Yeah, that's part of the ego having its level of control over what's going to happen, which just causes pain and suffering. It's very hard for people just to let go, especially when you really don't know what's going to happen and you can't really predict the future. You tend to try and hold on, but it's very difficult just to move the ego and say, you know what, it's a roller coaster ride. Let's just, when it happens. Source has got our back. It's not going to hurt us. Let's just go with it. So it's very difficult for people to do that. So our pain and suffering just drags out for years, trying to control what we think is going to happen,
Well, and what's at the basis of that? It's our fear, isn't it?
Yes.
Of the unknown, of uncertainty, of not being able to control it. That's all fear. And it's the opposite to love. I mean, there's only two ways to live, I think. And that's what we're trying to do, is step into that force field, that awareness, that knowingness that we are a vibration of light and love. Yeah. And that is who we are. Now, that intellectually, it surely sounds great, but how do we integrate that? How do we practice it? How do we be it and know it and live it? And that's the whole journey of true ascension, I think, and various stages and levels of that integration along the way.
It is. And, I always tell people, one of the major causes and sources of your suffering is looking for love in an external source, as opposed to learning how to love yourself for who you are, your faults, your flaws, getting used to yourself and loving yourself and spending time with yourself, filling up your own cup first, putting your own oxygen mask on first before you try to help other people and seek it externally. Find how to love within first, and then slowly start walking outside and, go and finding people that are in your tribe, your soul tribe.
Again, easier said than done, of course, what we're talking about. I'm reflecting back on, all the people that cross my paths, especially women that I coach or counsel or facilitate them in their awakening, is they have so much love to give. Mm-hmm. And they just are bleeding. They're just, overflowing love. And we've all been programmed and trained that that's how we do it. And all of our religious programming that we've all received, even in school, you got to give, to your friends before you take. So yeah, we have to undo that program. Yeah. And it runs deep. It runs really deep. And, self-care is a new buzzword. But, I think taking the time, if you can understand that there's something so big here, so massive, that self-care includes meditation, taking it slow, not overthinking it, really practicing to be in the present. And when we can do those things, which are true self-love, then everything else will fall into place.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Without over-intellectualizing it. I think that's a mistake a lot of people I see out around, and what I see being expressed is over-intellectualizing.
Yeah. Yeah. People are definitely trying to learn as much as they possibly can, but I think they're taking in too many sources of information at once. And, at the end of the day, they've watched, 15 different creators on YouTube about how to do this law of attraction or this technique or that technique. And they've read as many books, and now they're confused and they're not sure what technique to use. So now they're upset and frustrated and wondering if this even all works or if it's just all hubbub anyway. So there's lots of frustration going on top of that, just naturally trying to figure out what's going on anyway in the spiritual awakening.
Well, you identified a key component. And when we get to a certain point, I was guilty of that too. I was hungry for the information. And I think at a soul level, we're so eager to get the party on the road, Yeah. And we've come here for this particular reason and this time as a soul. But what it does is, by going to 50 different YouTube channels and creators and studying different, $50 trainings. I'm going to do $100 chakra training, or I just cleared and aligned my chakras and think that that's it. Well, not only is it not it, but what you're doing is you're fragmenting your aura and your chakra system even more. And, the methodology I learned from my near-death experience and from the quantum messages that I've received and the guidance is that we've got to clear and, what's the word that wants to come in right now? It's almost like we have not only declutter our energy field, but release the energy, the programming, the influences, our family and our life from what we've known. We have to clear all that. Mm-hmm. And taking on all these influencer energies and the YouTube, it just layers it up and it makes it even more confusing. What I was guided to when I first started my journey way back in the 90s is they told me to find one path, focus on one path and one mentor or teacher. and do that for some time. Give yourself, like learning how to play the violin or guitar or whatever it is that you're learning to play, or even sports. You have one coach. Okay, there's an assistant, but you're not jumping from field to field in different mindsets or a different methodology in the training. So you have a consistent foundation. You can always, move around later, but you want to build a foundation. You want to build the momentum. You want to, trigger or access and, build as much inner strength on the path.
Yeah.
I found that to be critically important.
It is very important. It's just, like you said, it's fine. It's finally picking, if you can, finding out what it is your soul's purpose is here to do, and just concentrating on that instead of worrying about, everybody wants to manifest this and that, and they want to, look at this and that. Just find out what your soul's here to do, which is overall, it's becoming its highest expression of itself. But, concentrate on your soul's development, and then whatever comes out of that will be, stuff that source has brought you because it knows you can deal with it. And then maybe you can dabble in those things from there. But don't, just like you said, stop trying to do 50 things at once, narrow it down to one, spend your time on that, get yourself right. And then that'll clear up a lot of confusion, and you'll probably get a lot quicker progress out of that also.
And what happens is a lot of people that I work with don't know what their purpose is. Or if they think they know, maybe it's a particular career. Well, that might be for a season, but the ultimate purpose, from what I've seen consistently with almost everybody, is to know thyself.
Right.
And to know and understand your frequency, your vibration. If we take it, know thyself, what are you? You're a vibration, your energy. And when you learn how to manage that, you influence it to create what you want. So when you understand that your purpose is to refine your frequency, your vibration that you're sending out into the world, so it's consistent with your purpose, who you are, you're authentically you and aligned, and that's aligned your energetic centers, which is the chakras, and your aura. So you're pulsing into the world that healing, that love, that light of truth, all of those powerful high resonance emotions and vibrations are being sent out. And that's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
And when we know that, it's super simple. Then what you do won't matter a whole lot, but you'll probably be inclined to focus on something that resonates with your heart, that you like, or it's art or computer programming, or maybe you're really good at math or engineering, whatever that might be, but you're totally radiant and alive when you're doing that.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't become work.
I tell people all the time, take some time out of your day and turn off the TV and put down your phone and go find, if you don't know what it is already, go find your passion, your hobby, go do something. If you got that project car that's been sitting in the garage for years, go start working on it. Or if you're a painter, pick up the paintbrush again. Or like you said, if you're a mathematician and you like, doing complex problems, do it. Or whatever your thing is, you're a welder, you're a woodworker, something. Go get out, outside for a couple hours a day and do that, and start aligning with yourself and allowing yourself to be alone with your thoughts instead of being on Instagram, watching other people live their lives, because they're living their life. They're not waiting on you. Well,
and not only that, then you're just living your life through them.
Yeah.
And really what I see people doing is energetically, they actually leave their body. They are not in present time. They've gone wherever your thoughts go, you go. So if you're on that TikTok or your Instagram, somebody else's stuff, then you've literally jumped into their energy field, or you've brought them into your energy field, which messes things up even more.
Right.
If you thought you had problems before, then you're going to really be messed up.
Yeah,
And that's why people get all jittery, and then they think they had a coffee, and then they need some more chocolate, and then they did everything. That's where I see people so neurotic, so unpredictable, overly emotional, confused, fearful, is they've got these invasions of foreign energy in their space, and they don't know how to clear it. And that's what I do. That's where we start. Let's clear what we're not. Because I know that you've been programmed by the divine and the creator. You've got a purpose here, but you've got to get aligned and clear what you're not. And then that truth of who you are can just do its thing. Then it's no effort.
Absolutely. So
I know that's oversimplifying it.
Speaking of which, you're an intuitive. Are you full on empathic, or are you clairaudient,
I got them all real bad.
You got them all? Okay. Because I know I recently discovered I was.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I recently discovered I had a 5th generation empath tell me part of the reason why people are treating me the way they do is because I'm clairaudient, and the energy from me was doing things I didn't realize at the time. So people were having a certain reaction to me whenever I get in certain states of mind, and now I'm now starting to work with that. But yeah, so you got them all real bad.
Well, what I would say to you, and when you describe that, and I was looking at your energy field, I would describe it differently. Okay. First of all, I believe everybody is empathic.
Yeah.
Because that is clear feeling. Or maybe we're not clear about it, but we're feeling beings. So that's the 3rd chakra energy center, 2nd and 3rd chakra, sort of in that space. Clairvoyance is the 5th chakra center, your communication space. We're all telepathic. We're all receivers and senders. So in a sense, we're all audient. We're just not clear, right? Yeah. Then clairvoyant, we're voyant, let's say. We're all visual. So having that highest vibration of clairvoyance means it's clear. In my trainings, in my clairvoyance and chakra mastery, I teach people how to refine that third eye, that 6th chakra, so that you do get clear pictures. A lot of people say to me, "Oh, I can't visualize." Oh, yeah, you do. Because if you think of your car parked out in the street, did I put my window up or not? Guess what? That's clairvoyance.
Yeah, you're visualizing.
And then the clear cognizance is just clear knowing. And the more our chakras are aligned and clear our energy field, the more knowingness. It's just an automatic. We plug in. So that's my take on it. That's what I see. When you say that you're full on empathic, what I see and describe for you is that your energy field is so far out that other people come around either in the body or not in the body, and they step into your energy field. And they make you, it's like a foreign invasion. And your energy is being very strong, Aries. You don't know, you don't have a healthy, strong edge to your aura. You go over, button your nose into other people's energy field. And then what does that do? That not only screws you up, but it screws them up.
Yeah.
So nobody has taught us the ABCs, how to manage our energy field. We've all got this issue. I did too. As an empath and a totally emotional Cancerian, I needed to learn that more than anything because it's about me, healing me. When we can manage that energy field and bring it in, you could go into an airport or a huge conference or a concert and it not affect you. In fact, you can be so present, people will look at you. Like I walked into a coffee shop the other day and the woman that I ended up sitting next to, she goes, "Oh my gosh, your energy is so strong." But I had it so, and it's refined so that it does send out a strong signal. Some people like become invisible because their energy field is translucent. People just kind of walk through them. They don't even see they're there. Mm-hmm. So those are all energy field issues.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of which, in your coaching, would you mind telling everybody what you're coaching, what you do, everything you offer?
Yes. The very first step I take with people is an initial consultation to figure out where their biggest problems are. And usually, well, I tell you where your problems are. Okay. And then once we identify those, then we create a strategy, how to approach it. My typical unfoldment is that we spend some time where I do the energy clearings. And I give you some quantum tools to start practicing and learning how to manage your energy field. So we have to, it's like building a muscle, going to the gym. You know, if I clear your energy field and then you just keep doing what you always done and you don't, I call it an energy shower, you don't keep your energy field clear, you're going to resort back to square one. Exactly. So we work together as a team. I help build your energy field. You're also helping on your end. And then it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So it can keep taking an elevated step up. And then as you gain a level of trust with me, we can then embark on my chakra mastery and or intuitive mastery. And the reason I say that is because there's a lot of trainings out there that are online or on the weekend. I learned over all the years is to really have a lasting effect. You can't go to a weekend training and then hold that vibration. A week or two later, you're down again, right? Yeah. And it doesn't last. It doesn't hold. So we're changing our energy. It's an unknown. It's an invisible aspect to you. You have to learn how to feel this new energy and hold it. And so for that, I provide like the training wheels. Well, you get your angel wings and your land legs, and you start to build and feel your power, and you start manifesting miracles. You start having everyday synchronicities that are like, wow, I can't believe that happened. And I hear that every single day from my clients. And that's what we want, because we are masters. We are creators in the likeness and image of the creator, right? Absolutely. That's our job, is to understand and fulfill that potential.
Yes.
And so I don't know if I'm just too old-fashioned, but I like to make sure this is sustaining for you. You know, I don't work with everybody. I work with people who are serious and committed on their path, because sometimes we hit some dark spots that aren't pretty. And that's why I want you to have a level of trust with me that you can count on me to help you steer out of this.
Oh, absolutely.
Or whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
It's as you noticed on your path, it's not all peaches and cream.
No.
And so when those dark times come up, I want you to know you can truly count on me, heart and soul. And to me, that means everything. I've been down the road. I know what it's like to have a dark night of the soul for weeks. I know what it's like to think I'm losing my mind and seeing things and you don't have anybody to talk to about.
Yeah.
And some of these things are so personal. You don't want to talk to you, right? You don't want to share it with a bunch of other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad to hear you say that, because, so many times I hear people offer this package and that package, but they don't say what you just said about the trust part. And I want you to trust me and know that I'll be there for you. We can get through this, and I'll teach you how to make that sustainable, for the long haul down the road. It's not just an $1,800 weekend getaway in some Malibu resort, and then, you come back later for another $1,800. You're there with them.
I'm going to share a brief story about a woman that came to see me. She came to see me because she was struggling with depression, and she was referred to me by an internist and a homeopathic doctor in Dubai. Actually, Dr. Elizabeth was actually a heart, not surgeon, but she was a, what do you call it? Cardiologist. So she was a lot of things. She was an amazing woman. So she referred this woman to me. Her name was, I'm call her Penny for privacy reasons.
Okay.
And so Penny came to me and she was really struggling. They tried everything alternatively to resolve this depression. She had already been to therapy, and I don't know if she was on meds at the time. She didn't want meds, that's for sure. So there were a couple other issues that I uncovered, and one, believe it or not, was constipation. And I could see what she was magnesium deficient. And so she started magnesium, and the problem was fixed. Well, so then we continued on working. And one day, and this woman was a mother. She was from a very wealthy family. Money was not an issue for them. Husband was successful. She had a wonderful family environment. It wasn't like she had a crazy dysfunctional family like me. But she had what most people would go, wow, she's had it made. But her boys were growing, and she wanted something that she could do for herself. She wanted a business or some sort of training that she was, developing herself. She was enrolled in Stanford School for Psychology. Okay. Because of her family's set of beliefs that because they're wealthy, she had to go to a prestigious school, Ivy League. That was it. Right. So she was already registering for a psychology degree. Well, a few sessions into our consultations, and I said to her, I said, Penny, do you like cooking? Oh my God, it was a loft apartment that I lived in. And she almost flew to the ceiling. And she just said, I love cooking. And I'm like, that's it. It is not psychology. She goes, but I want to help people. Yeah, you do. But this is your way. This is unique to you. Long story short, it was a whole big unraveling of her programming and belief systems, that there was no Ivy League for cooking. I said, well, there's the Cordon Bleu school of cooking. Oh, what am I going to do with the boys? How can I get away? And then I'm going to have to try. Well, the story that we tell ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. So after a little bit of clearing, and we continued on, next thing you know, she enrolled in the Cordon Bleu. The family, who always thought that she was a complete flake and never finished anything she started, the sister-in-law, the husband, the kids were all on board. Everybody was more excited than she was. And away she went. She enrolled in a Cordon Bleu class. Nobody else showed up. So she got private training.
Oh, no.
And so it unfolded like this. And one thing after another. Then while she was in Paris at the school, so a friend said, well, I've got another friend from Carmel visiting, and let's have dinner. She goes and has dinner, and this guy has a lunch business in a corporate environment, corporate building. And he said, you can make your pastries at my restaurant and sell them to my audience or my, customers. What? So the business was unfolding. The husband was on board. The kids, you could not have had more perfect manifestation.
That's perfect.
And she would interview, when she first started, she started going and talking to all the chefs in the 5-star restaurants in Dubai. And that's how she started getting a feel for what did she want to do in terms of there's pastry, there's, full menus or whatever she wanted to do in terms of French. So it was a wonderful journey. And what was so remarkable is shortly after she named her business, and she was showing me all the marketing material, all the branding. And as that was all unfolding, and she called her company Poon Chick. And I said to her, what does that mean? And she said, well, that was my nickname as a 5-year-old. And it means like sweet bread or sweet, like donut or something like that in Persian. And I said, are you kidding me? Your name and your family named you pastry, basically. You know what? That was just a spiritual trick on her, right?
Yeah.
Took her all of that to find it. And so to this day, she's got a thriving business. She was the family's all on board with it. She's successful in every way. And it took such a huge twist. Well, guess what? She was so full of passion. The depression went out the window.
Good.
She would be up almost all night researching and designing, and she had more energy than she knew what to do with.
Good.
So
I love that.
That's kind of the type of work I do, is let's identify the true path. And then, spirit unfolds in miraculous and wonderful ways.
Amirah, that is beautiful. I love that story. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
That's amazing. So, getting a little short on time. So if you would, please, your book, Manifesting Miracles 101, can you kind of talk about that for a few minutes for the crowd?
Yeah, that book is a guidebook. It's not really one of those books you want to pick up and just read from chapter to chapter, right?
Okay.
It is a book that I developed for the students on the journey of chakra healing and mastery, life mastery. It is a journey through each of the chakras, all the exercises that I guide my students with, and a deeper understanding of what they're doing, because all the training I do is experiential. We're not there to intellectualize and understand where that first chakra is, or the third, or what it does. I'm not regurgitating what every other teacher and everybody has copied and pasted on the internet. Okay. What we're doing is we're diving deep and discovering for ourselves what your third chakra does for you, and learning how you're affected by foreign energies and how it's impeding it, and release it. So the journey is individual for you, and there's no cookie cutter.
Nope.
So I'm kind of anti even colors. I don't define the chakras by a color.
Okay.
Because the chakras are changing all the time. And if I see green for your third chakra today, next week it could be a blue or a silver. So there is no set color for the chakras for you in your journey, because I kind of see them as spinning wheels like a kaleidoscope. So those patterns are always shifting and moving. It might be yellow, and then it's orange, and then it's pink and blue. And you see, it's complicated.
Yeah.
That's been my journey of trying to understand it in a deeper level.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've mentioned to the audience many, many times, no one's going to have it figured out. I sure as hell don't. And definitely be wary of people that say they do. But, I figured, I told them after 22 years, I've learned a few things. So Russell and I originally started the podcast and said, hey, combined together, we know a few things. We'll share what we know. If it helps you, amazing. If it doesn't, that information is not for you. These are just some tips and tricks that work for us. Don't necessarily follow what we say or do. Go out and do your own research, find what works for you, become your own version of yourself. But I feel Absolutely. Like the information that I provide is just like a stepping stone for somebody to dip their toe in the water and realize that there's a community of people out there like them that's waiting to help them, and that we're all together in this, and no one's really alone at the end of the day. So it's, don't do it my way, but here's some information and get ready for a roller coaster ride.
Well, and there again, there's some techniques or approaches that can get you on a straight and narrow relatively easy with least amount of resistance. I went through a real thicket. It's like going through, the woods with no path. And so I created this, path for people to make it easier. It doesn't have to be so difficult. There are plenty of tools available now. And teachers that are qualified. That's a key too, because anybody can sell you anything. Not everybody has the experience to pull you out of the skid when you're in it.
Yeah, that's that's the truth for sure. Definitely use your discernment and as to who you're talking to and how that information feels coming across to you. Don't just dive into everything that everybody says. But Amirah,
how do you feel?
Your website is amirahhall.com, right?
Yes. AmirahHall.com. 2 H's and 2 L's.
Okay, good. Yeah, I definitely wanted to, you guys go definitely check her out. That's, like I said, I got a sneak peek of, Essential Guide to Spiritual Awakening. And I felt like I was almost reading my own.
Oh, beautiful.
Spiritual awakening. I was like, okay, this person's we're kind of similar in paths, at least a little bit, so, I was drawn in right there.
Good. Well, I'm also like to invite the listeners on my website. I have what I call Instant Calm. It's the stress buster. It's a guided meditation. It's using quantum tools to really give yourself an energy shower. And you can start getting into alignment and start clearing away energies that are foreign to you and really start peaceful, refined state energetically and start feeling it for yourself and see the difference. It's quick and easy. It's only 15 minutes, but unlike a lot of meditations, it guides you and clears the energy. So you're not leaving the body. The idea here is to be present in your body.
Present. Okay. Yeah. That's, there's a lot of subjects that we could talk about.
I know we could go on for eons, couldn't we?
Eons. It's so, you know what? I would love to have you back on again if you want to do another podcast, because I feel like we could just talk forever. So, but that being said, before the Zoom here cuts us off, Amirah, thank you so much for reaching out and talking to the audience and talking to me. I mean, I've just learned so much already just talking to you over this, and it's just been kind of general information, So you guys, show her some love and support, AmirahHall.com. Like I said, her book is in editing right now, Essential Guide to the Spiritual Awakening. She also has Manifesting Miracles 101, and she's also, a 22-year-long trained clairvoyant coach. You guys show her some love and support, and go check out our website. If you feel that information is right for you, and thank you again for doing this interview. This has been amazing. I'm so amped up now. I'm gonna have to go to the gym to work off all this energy.
You need to download the Stress Buster and clear your energy field.
I know I am. I need to.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. I'm really tickled.
Awesome, Amirah. Thank you so much, and this has been amazing. And have a wonderful night, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Good night.